Hello and welcome back to another stream. We're back in XP12 and for the third stream in a row we're checking out a brand new aircraft for the simulator, and as you can see today we're going to be checking out the newly released Thranda PC-12, and as you can see what a beautiful aircraft it is, and look at this beautiful terrain. By the way, we are in Buochs, I think you call it, Lima Sierra Zulu Charlie in Switzerland, which is sort of Pilatus HQ. We're at the Pilatus hangar here. Just default scenery with some lovely custom ortho for XPs as well. And she is a beautiful, beautiful aircraft, as you can see. So we'll get right into it then. Hey Soric, good evening. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Just Aviation. I saw your question. I'm pretty sure you just need to set your tiller axis in the Zibo EFB to yaw, and then you should be able to turn on the ground. If that's not the issue, then just let me know in the Discord. Hey, Sim Crash Flyer, welcome. Yeah, what a beautiful plane. The Pilatus PC-12 is such a nice aircraft, and I'm so glad we have it in X-Plane 12 now as well. Definitely very, very nice. Hey, Andre, welcome. Good evening to you too, and Ozzy, welcome. All right, so let's get right into it then. We have the Pilatus PC-12 from Thranda. If you do want to pick it up, there's a link in the description and in the pinned comment as well. And as you can see, it is really very, very nice here. Just absolutely beautiful. And I do need to change one thing. I just remembered. I have a very, very strange issue in X-Plane right now, where if I look away from the sun during sunset or sunrise, I get a massive frame drop for some reason. So anyway, hey Dougal, welcome. How's it going, my friend? Yes, wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well. Thank you very much for your support this year, and hope you're doing well. Alright, so this won't take too long to load. We do have the Thranda PC-12, and I do want to say it was provided to the channel by Dan over at Thranda. So a big thank you to him for providing a copy to the channel. Of course, that doesn't sway my opinions or anything on the aircraft. It's still completely objective. They have absolutely no say over sort of my review and what I think of the aircraft. But I did get it for free, very kindly, to review on the channel. So once this loads, it won't take too long at all. We're just changing the time. We will get right into it, and I can show you around the aircraft. Of course, Thranda, very well known within the X-Plane community for many different aircraft. And this one is really very nice, especially with the turboprop. The PT6A engine is such a beautiful sounding engine. So, all right, 2 seconds here. There we are. All right. So that's just to help my frames a little bit. There we are, much nicer, and just looks absolutely beautiful, doesn't it? Let's just do this real quick. I did some custom orthos with custom terrain, and it just, wow. Anyway, here is the Thranda PC-12, and it is very nice. I do like the cockpit textures here. Now, I am VRAM limited on my PC, and therefore the textures may look slightly compressed as to what they sort of actually are. So if you're on a slightly higher end PC with more VRAM, you will be getting nicer textures, but the textures are actually quite nice in the aircraft. There's some wear and tear and stuff like that. It does look quite nice. The seat textures are also quite nice, actually. I do like them, overhead and the roof and everything. It's not bad at all. And we can move to the cabin here, and as you can see, we've got a lovely, lovely cabin. We've got the door open here. Got some lovely wooden interior. And there's a couple of animated parts in here. So you can, as you can see, open and close the table. However, there is unfortunately no sound for that, but it is animated, and you can actually recline the seat as well. There is a sound for that, actually. So that's really nice as well. And you can open the door here at the back as well, the cargo door. And as you can see, we have the GPU connected as well. But yeah, quite a nice, you can drag and drop blinds as well. Look at that. Nice sounds as well for the blinds. So yeah, all very, very good here in the cabin. It is a nice cabin. Get some nice wing views as well later on once we get going. Unfortunately, you can't open any of these cabinets or anything, which is fine. You know, it's not a big deal at all, but it is quite nice looking. And we can go to the exterior view and take a look. Modeling and texture work out here is absolutely fantastic. Just even the chocks and stuff like that, nice worn textures on them. We are in the beautiful Pilatus house livery as well. And yeah, provided GPU as well, so you can enable that in the there is the EFB as well, so I'll show you that soon. I will show liveries, yes, absolutely. There's a few liveries this comes with, and of course the Thranda dynamic livery system as well, it does have. Yeah, all looks very nice, absolutely no complaints out here. It's a very beautiful looking aircraft. I can't wait to get the channel livery made for this as well. So we'll hop into the cockpit. Everything is very nice. Nice to see all the textures down here, all pretty good as well. A lot of the time developers slack a little bit down here and put some pretty low res textures, even though we're not looking at it much. It's nice to see that the textures all here are all good and sharp. Even all this text here is all nice and sharp. Hey Fenneman, welcome. All right, so if I scroll this here, we have the EFB, as you can see, and we also have here the you can access the EFB in a 2D panel from this arrow here, and if you scroll on it, you can actually sort of hide it, or you can change the transparency, which is actually really nice as well. So you can have it full transparency, or you can completely get rid of it if you want as well. So I'll show you the EFB here. There's loads of stuff in here. It's a fantastic EFB. There is a brightness slider as well for this, and you can move this around the cockpit as well by clicking on these various click spots, all of which are provided in the manual as well. And I'll show you the documentation in a second as well. Have you played Microsoft Flight Sim? I have, Fenneman, yes. I've used Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 quite a lot, and also 2024. I've not used 2024 as much due to the ongoing issues, but yeah, I use Microsoft Flight Sim as well. Hey, Tiger Dude, welcome. All right, aircraft options. So there's quite a few here. Now, there is an engine mode, realistic or simple. Now, if you have it on realistic, there'll be almost no limit to the sort of torque and ITT output of the engine when you throttle up. And so there is the chance of you almost sort of burn out the engine, as it were. And if you do that, might be able to show it at the end of the stream, actually. If you do that, so if you just slam the throttle all the way forward on takeoff, you will burn out the engine, you'll lose the engine, and you'll get smoke in the cockpit as well, which is sort of a dynamic failure, which is really cool. If you have it on simple mode, on simplified, then that won't happen. You can just slam the throttle forward, and you don't need to worry about that. Of course, I will stick that on realistic because I like managing all that sort of stuff myself. There's an electric tug, which I'll show you later, but that is essentially its own in-house pushback. And you can sort of enable this electric tug out here and then control that using your flight controls, which is really cool, which I'll show you guys later. Window reflections, you can turn on and off, pretty self-explanatory. Same with the panel reflections, I'll leave both of those on. And then you can change the startup running off and on here as well and toggle the GPU. Next, so you can toggle brakes, which is just your parking brake, chocks, and the steering mode from realistic to simplified. I'll keep it on realistic. And then you can toggle covers, tie downs, all the doors, and you can turn on all the lights, exterior or internal, as well. And you can click on these click spots to remove them, as you can see. So right now we have the tie downs, we got all the covers on, and we have the tail stand as well with the GPU and the cargo door and everything open, as you can see. Frames are suffering a little bit today. GPU isn't particularly happy, but we'll make do. It's all should be okay. So First of all, let's see here. Zaz aircraft options. We have weight and balance. I'm going to come back to this because I need to set my weight and balance anyway. Instrument options, so you can have some pop-ups, as you can see. Don't know why that's down there. Oh yeah. And you get all sorts of different pop-ups, as you can see, which is really nice. And basically everything in here, you can just click on it and it'll pop up. It's really very cool. As you can see, the enunciator panel, these down here, just everything you can toggle, which is really nice. And you can change your altimeter units as well, which is pretty cool. Now, this is something which is quite interesting. I'm not going to delve too much into this because this could honestly be almost a video on its own. But there is this dynamic panel, and you can pretty much move everything or anything you want. So you can have this completely blank and stick G1000s in here if you want, for example. The G1000 integration is coming soon in a future update. But you can, modify this however you like. And there is a 3D panel edit mode, as you can see, and you can move stuff around. I don't want to move stuff around right now and screw up the panel. I'm just using the default, but as you can see, you can do anything you want here, which is really very nice. So I'll disable that. All right, but this is really cool. Recommend looking at the manual for this. But you can change anything you want in here, which is so very cool. So if there's a particular PC-12 you're trying to simulate with a particular set of avionics, you can do that as long as that, the avionics themselves are in X-Plane or external. You can, move this around, which is really very cool and a very nice feature. Liveries here, so we can go through the liveries. You can add or remove dirt as well, which is quite cool. As you can see, we're on the Pilatus livery right now. There's a Thranda livery. Let me zoom in a little bit here. This is for the dynamic livery. I'll come back to that soon. You got this livery. This is a very cool livery. You might have seen it in some screenshots in my Discord or in the start of the stream. And I'll just scroll through this shortly. I think there's 6 liveries you get. That's a nice livery. You get an NGX livery as well. And then back to the Pilatus livery. So, all right. And you can just change livery directly from this page as well. As you can see, if you click apply, it will change livery. It will take a few minutes to do so though. Dynafield, this is interesting. So in Thranda aircraft, you can dynamically change the flight model, as it were, or how the flight controls feel. As you can see, you can make things feel lighter or heavier. Now, my understanding is that 100% here, pretty much in the middle, is what it's sort of tuned for and what they think is realistic from Thranda, and how the flight model is tuned. But you can adjust it as well. I'm just pretty much have it on default here. These settings, we're talking 1 or 2% out. It doesn't really matter, but I'm just leaving them on default. The flight model on this aircraft is very nice. I'll get into that later on once we actually get in the air. But the flight model is really nice on this aircraft. It flies fantastic. And then you can open the default logbook. So there's some shortcuts here to some default X-Plane menu stuff. So the logbook, which comes in X-Plane, you get a very detailed checklist, as you can see here, which is really cool. We may go through one of these pages. We won't go through them all during the flight, otherwise you'll take slightly too long, but you do get an integrated checklist, and you do get a PDF in the documentation tab as well. Just gonna reset my lossless scaling here. All right. Next we have ground handling. So you can open the default ground handling window. You've got the dynamic livery. So here you can go ahead and set whatever livery you want. And you can change all the colors here. You can change the metal, the roughness, the dirt, the scheme as well, the paint scheme, which is really cool. So you can make your own custom livery. You can change the registration as well. This is pretty self-explanatory to use. You just sort of click and change the colors using these RGB numbers here. I'm not going to do it today just because every time you change and apply, it takes a good 2 or 3 minutes, and it might lag the stream out a little bit. So I'm not really going to show this on the stream today. But if someone wants a video or something, I can absolutely do that. It is very self-explanatory. You can make your own livery. Very nice feature, and it is available in other Thranda aircraft, so you might already be familiar with it. You have a flight computer here, so you can see right now these numbers are obviously incorrect, so you haven't got the engine started. But you have things like temperature, ground speed, range, endurance. Once we're in the air, that will be a more sensible value. All sorts of altitude, so we've got density altitude, pressure altitude, nautical miles per gallon, statute miles per gallon, true airspeed, fuel flow in kilograms an hour or liters an hour, fuel used, as we can reset the fuel burn as well, headwind and crosswind component, very useful. The crosswind and headwind component are particularly useful when doing some VFR flights, and you need that for your navigation calculations. That's really cool, and you can change the unit as well there. And next, equipment, so you can have recognition lights and you can make the pilot female if you want. And then you have AviTab integration as well, which you may be learning nav data because I don't really use AviTab that much. But anyway, it does have AviTab integration. So let's go back to weight balance here. You can change the units, which is very nice, and you get a nice CG graph down here as well. And you can change your payload, your passengers, how much the passengers weigh, and your fuel, of course. If you right or left click, so if I right click, you can add a passenger, left click to remove the passenger. All right, so I'm going to leave the passenger standard, but I'm going to add the fuel in. In fact, let me brief the route here. We do need to do that. All right, so we'll bring up Navigraph, and as I said, we are here at Buochs. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, hopefully. Pilatus sort of headquarters where they do all their testing and stuff. And we're not live weather just because the weather is terrible. It's actually limited IFR in Innsbruck, so I don't know if we'll be able to get in on live weather. So I've just made it nice and sunny so we can look at this beautiful terrain here today. So we'll depart runway 24 on the Will 3 Alpha departure. For time saving, we might skip this waypoint and go straight to Deton. We'll see. But anyway, then we're flying over here to the east, and we are heading over to Innsbruck, and we're going to be on the Maid 1 Bravo arrival into runway 08 on the RNAV Zulu. Very nice, fun, scenic approach. Now, after we go to Innsbruck, we're going to take a bit of a VFR flight through the mountains here and head over to Corvara first off. Buochs is a more correct pronunciation. Thank you very much, Switz. Thank you. So, Buochs. Perfect. Thank you very much. So yeah, so from Innsbruck, we'll take a bit of a VFR flight to Corvara here, which is like a skiing destination. We've got some nice scenery for the area. And then we'll head over to Locker Airfield, which is a very small airfield. It's a very difficult landing. There's power lines on the approach. It's a small grass strip in the middle of a valley in the mountains, as you can see. It's not even on, like, there's no ICO code for it, so we can't we can't even add it into the GPS or anything. I've had to create a custom waypoint here on Navigraph for it, but as you can see, it's in the middle of nowhere. There's a pretty crazy slope on the runway as well, so that'll be a lot of fun. And we might just fly in the mountains, like in the valley sort of thing, so that'll be fun. And that's just to check out the airfield. It's a perfect opportunity to do that. Is that the place where they have to taxi over a runway? From the hangars. Locker? The taxi is very strange. It's like down a hill, and the gradient is crazy. And there is a hangar, and the hangar is animated. You can open and close it, actually. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So we'll see there. We'll see that later on. That'll be a fun approach and a very challenging landing for me. This airport here. Let me re-enable loss of scaling. All right. Many places like that in Switzerland. Yeah, it's beautiful. Very beautiful. Some place I would absolutely love to visit here one day. So yeah, there is a road going through the runway, which is true. So that is definitely interesting. We have to, we should rotate before we get anywhere near there. But that is actually true to life. There is a whole runway here. I saw a video of it once, but it's pretty cool. Buochs has a road crossing taxiway, but you might be talking about Meringen, maybe. I think that's how you pronounce that. Yeah, so there's a road here and the taxiway and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, really, really nice. Let's jump into the aircraft, and from Navigraph, I'm just going to grab the fuel we need today, which is 519 tons. So put that in. We'll do 260 aside. That'll work perfectly. There we are. And we can see we have our passengers here. We don't have much cargo. I'm going to reduce that just to get our CG forward a little bit. So 70. Perfect. So we can save and load that. Brilliant. All right. Discount Gibraltar. All right. So let's get the aircraft started then. And I'm going to show you some of the documentation which comes with the aircraft. So you get a very in-depth PC-12 manual here, as you can see, with a huge amount of various things, and at the bottom you do get a lots of lovely information about the aircraft here. You do get lots of different information, really, really nice. It shows you the whole EFB, what I've just covered basically. So definitely, if you do pick up the aircraft, do take a look at this. Very, very useful. And you do get the checklist as well. Now, I believe this is the same checklist as what is in the EFB, but it's nice to have it as a PDF. You know, you can stick on a second monitor if you want to, or even print this out. So nice in-depth checklist to come with the aircraft as well. Next, you get a PC-12 performance chart from Thranda. Very nice, and again, this has pretty much everything you could ever think of in the way of performance, and we'll use it today as well. But it is very in-depth, nice charts. I do actually quite like how you can kind of tell these have been taken from actual documentation, but I like the look of it. You know, it kind of looks pretty genuine, if you ask me. It's not all completely modernized, and it's very, very slightly sort of older font and stuff, but no, it looks very nice. I do like it, and this is true to life. And if you understand all these charts, then you're gonna have a great time. I do understand most of these from the engineering degree I'm doing at the moment, so that really helps. So you know, if you're looking into doing pilot training and stuff like that, again, these are really useful. Learning how to read these and use these charts effectively is such a good skill to have, and be able to practice within the sim instead of in the air where it's costing you real money, as it were. So that comes with the aircraft as well. And then you do get a GNS 430 manual, and you do get a GNS 530 manual as well, which is very nice. I'm going to keep this on the side because I will be needing that later. And we'll head back into X-Plane. Thank you for subscribing, David Moo. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. Welcome to the channel. So, all right, let's get the aircraft started then. So I think we go back here. Let's remove all the covers, all the tie downs, and we'll close all the doors. Nice sounds. We don't have chock, so we're just on the parking brake. We have the GPU, and I will show you this very quickly, the electric tug. So if we enable that, as you can see, we have the tug. Now you can use your flight control, your joystick, your yoke, whatever. So if I push forward, essentially elevated down, it's gonna hopefully... oh, we have the parking brake on, don't we? Whoops. Right. Now if I push forward, you can see it's going to drive us forward. If I pull back on the yoke, elevate it up as it were, it's going to push us back, as you can see. You can turn using your rudders as well, as you can see. But anyway, we don't need that today. I'm going to disable it. I just wanted to very quickly show that to you. We'll reset the parking brake here. There we are. So let's get the aircraft started then. And we will first go batteries. And external power can go on as well. There we are. And we have more than 24.5 volts, which is what we need to start the engine. And then why is our performance not looking good right now? Frames are not happy. All right, everything here is good. We can test the ELT. Nice sounds. EPS is armed. EFIS normal. Those are both on slave, which is where we want them. That's perfectly fine. We have the condition lever is in the cutoff position. Flaps are up. And you can see we got trims here. Now we actually have to set some yaw trim on this, which is interesting. So we'll set that later. ECS, we'll do that in a little bit. That can be left on manual and covered. And I'm just going to get the panel lighting on because I think it looks quite nice. We have some lights here as well. So dome light can stay off for now. We'll get the flood on. And these are some cabin lights as well. All right, so we're going to have the classic PT6A engine start here. It is beautiful sounds. So we'll go ahead and do that now. It's a pretty simple start procedure. And all I'm going to do is hit the starter here. The ignition is on auto. Fuel pump's on auto. In fact, we need to do some checks first before we do that. But yeah, then just hit the starter and we'll watch the NG rise. And at about 14% we'll introduce the fuel, just watch the ITT and all that good stuff. Swiss made some pretty simple review on it, but from what I saw, that plane seems to be top tier detailed PC-12. It's a very nice PC-12. It really is. And you know, when you consider the price of the aircraft, I think it's $45. It's so cheap. I think it's priced very well. It really is priced very well for what you get. You know, it's a very nice aircraft, and I'm glad to have a PC-12 in the sim because just look at that, absolutely beautiful. Now, we'll disable those. Let's do some tests. So we can do a lamp test here. Nice sounds. You can see everything has come alive there. Avionics is still off. We'll turn that on after the engine start. Pusher. So if I re-enable the the yoke and we hit the pusher, you can see that does its thing. So that'll stop in a second. Hopefully. There we are. And then there's a fire test as well, as you can see. So we'll disable the master cautions now. Perfect. All right. So engine start time then. So like I said, hit the starter and we'll watch the NG rise. And I have the condition lever set to a axis on my Honeycomb Bravo. But around 14% NG will introduce the fuel to the ground idle. So hit the starter. I'm going to remain silent during this so we can hear the beautiful sounds. No idea why we have smoke. I've not had that on my test sector yet. It might be, there we are. Nothing to do with the aircraft. It's one of those keybinds that you can click in X-Plane to activate smoke from the engine. It's X if you're wondering. But I've toggled that off. That's a weird X-Plane feature. Nothing to do with the aircraft. But anyway, aircraft has started. ITT's all good. We're above 64% NG. So engine has started. All right. Now, we can get the gens on. External power can go off. Avionics can go on. An inverter gen 1. Alright. And passenger no smoking signs can go on. Beacon nav. Beacon should have been on before. That's my fault. Starter light is off. And everything here is looking good. It's just ECS, which we need to do. So that's armed. We'll now arm the ECS, the environmental control system. Perfect. And now we have no warnings on the enunciator panel, which is exactly what we want. Since we're live weather, everything's going to be ISA today, so it's 15. It should be 15 degrees at least. Although we are at a slightly higher field elevation, aren't we? So it might not be 15 degrees. It's 12 degrees, which is correct. QNH is 1015. So 9090. 1015, and we'll select the first officer side to 1015 as well. On the QNH, like I said, all ISA conditions. And let's go ahead and set up our route then. So we can go to flight plan and go to first menu, and then we'll select our no, sorry, it's not menu, is it? It's flight plan procedure, and we'll select our departure from the airport, which is a Will 3 Alpha, and we'll load that. All right. And now we can nope, not what I wanted to do. Scroll down, there we are. And alright, so looking at my flight plan here, from Will we're going to Ditton, so we'll select that. Thank you very much for subscribing, Deck Reed, welcome to the channel. Alright, so Ditton then, DIT Oscar now, and then November. Now this is compatible with some of the RXP, Reality XP Garmin equipment as well, and I did ask the dev if this will be compatible with the TDS GTN XI 650 and 750 when they come out, and he said until they come out he's not sure because he doesn't have access to those right now, but it should be a simple matter of changing the configuration if we want to do it, and make it compatible as well. So anyway, we'll enter that, and then from Ditton we're going to Deeges. So let's put that in. Not too many waypoints today on this route. So Deeges. And then to Gamsa. So Gamsa. There we are, Gamsa. We'll put that in. Finally, Madeb. Last one, and then we're on to the approach and the starting. So Madeb. Put that in, and then it's LOWI. So Lima Oscar. Lima Oscar Whiskey. Nope. Whiskey India. There we are, Innsbruck. Put that in, go to procedure, and we'll select the arrival, which is the Maid 1 Bravo. So let's put that in. We'll load that. And what is going on with my FPS? Look at the CPU struggling there. Nothing to do with the aircraft, by the way. That's just an issue I've been having with X-Plane recently. And it looks like I'm quite VRAM limited at the moment, it looks like. Procedure. And then it's the arrival. Sorry, the approach. Which is the RNAV Zulu runway 08. via LMEM, and we'll load that in. All right, so that's all good to go. All right, good. So QNH is set. Let's set the flaps and ECS. All of that stuff was good to go. Manual, that's on auto. On the overhead, everything here looks good. We've got positive on the amps, which means batteries are being charged. We won't need any de-icing today. We'll put cabin heat on though. And that's on auto. Fuel pumps on auto. Let's go taxi lights on, and we can make our way to the runway then. Beautiful. What is cruising speed? So it depends on the performance. Why is this not? There we are. Why is my Tobii eye tracker not working? Oh, I disabled the plugin, didn't I? Whoops. All right. There we are. Let's go ahead and taxi then through the runway. All right. So away from the Pilatus hangar, we need to set our rudder trim. I just remembered, and check our trims. What is cruising speed? So we'll go through the performance in just a second. But it's a fairly quick aircraft, and it is, you know, pressurized, so we can get it up quite high. And I just remember we need to set our altitude as well, which is 190 today. So we'll set that here. So we're going up to flight level 190. Here's the road that we're crossing. There's a lot of videos of aircraft crossing this road if you do want to take a look at those on YouTube. I do apologize for the stuttering. I've no idea why. Can't really explain, it's just struggling a little bit. The latest build of X-Plane for me has been pretty poor in terms of performance. My CPU usage has been quite high, and so has my VRAM usage has been very high, in fact. But yeah, we'll taxi on to the runway. It looks beautiful. And one thing we need to do before I forget here is set this here. So we click nav to GPS. There we are. I would highly recommend the RTX 4070 Ti Super. Yes, I think that's going to be the next one. They're just very expensive. You know, my 3070 Ti is fantastic for everything other than flight sim. It's good for flight sim, don't get me wrong, but 8 gig of VRAM is just not enough these days. Especially for Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. That is pretty crazy on this VRAM usage. Yeah, I had VRAM issues going into LAX earlier as well. Hopefully it should improve here though once we get airborne, I anticipate. And we'll check our trims and everything. We need to set some right rudder trim before we take off. But it is a beautiful aircraft. How the sounds and physics, I was thinking of getting this plane, but I'm not sure. The physics, fantastic. The flight model is really nice. And it handles very nicely on the ground as well, I will say. So we'll bring it to a stop here. And I'll set the parking brake. So physics, flight model, very, very nice. Of course, you can change it in the dyno feel. But it does handle very well. And I want to say in wind as well, in particular. Because it is a fairly long aircraft, and you know there's a fair bit of surface area here at the back for in a crosswind it's going to hit that and really swivel the aircraft, so you get a lot of yawing sway left and right, in heavy crosswinds, and it feels fantastic. In the 152 I fly in real life, the Cessna 152, that thing in a crosswind will sway left, right. 1 minute your nose is slightly to the right, 1 minute your nose is slightly to the left of the runway. It's all over the place almost. And this is almost the same in the sense that it's in the crosswind, you can feel it. It's not on rails, which is really nice. It's very sort of dynamic feeling. It does feel good to me. Sounds as well are pretty good. I think the engine start sounds are nice, but I've heard better for PT6As at least, and from what I've heard on YouTube, there's a couple of little things missing, but it's pretty minor. But overall, I think the sounds are pretty good, especially switch sounds and stuff like that. All right, let me just bring up my GPU here. Yeah, my my CPU is just sat at 100%. Very interesting. So it's definitely struggling. So let's get the rudder trim here. I've got some buttons assigned, and you can see here, nose trim is fine. We'll set the rudder trim, so a little bit of right rudder until we're in that green zone. And aileron trim is fine as well. We'll just leave that neutral. There we are. Yeah, I get that. I used to run XP12 on a laptop with 4 gigs of VRAM. Yeah, oof. That will definitely struggle. There's a mistake in delivery. The rear is lighter than the front. I'm not sure about this. It only happens in certain lighting conditions though, which is interesting. But anyway, let's get out of here. I really have no idea what is happening with my performance. It's not good at all. But anyway, let's go flight idle then. We've got flaps 15 and we'll take off around 75 knots. That should be good. Yeah, CPU is just really struggling, but I think it's because we're VRAM limited. Yeah, I do apologize, but there's not a huge amount I can do. And alright, so just double check the navigation system. We've got GPS. We've got nav set here. We're in HSI mode. We've got GPS set here as well. And I think we're good to go here. And we're going to aim on the torque for, I think, around, I think it's 3.5 or 4.5. But we don't want to overdo it for sure. So let's go. I'm going to slowly apply the power and maintain center line here. Watching the ITT. And we'll leave it at 4. That'll be good enough for this runway. We've got plenty of power. And we'll rotate there. Beautiful. Rotates very nicely. Gear up. And 100 knots. Flaps can go up as well, so I'll just lower the nose so we can accelerate a little bit. And I'll activate the autopilot shortly. But I'm just going to let it speed up here. Watching that torque, we don't want to over stress the aircraft. And we'll let it speed up to 150. And then I'm going to activate the autopilot. So yaw damper can go on. Nav mode can go on. And then I'll select IAS when we get to 150. So we'll climb at 150 knots essentially. And we'll go IAS there and then set the autopilot. There we are, off we go. Beautiful. And you can see there with the I guess we do have a little bit of wind. Good evening. Just landed from a long haul, London Heathrow to Kuala Lumpur. I was after FD most of the flight. Surprisingly, the day went very fast. Well, fantastic. All right, beautiful. Yeah, I reckon once we climb up out of this valley here, we will be able to hopefully recover some of our frames. Yeah, look at the beautiful wing views here as well. Very, very nice. This is all custom ortho, custom elevation data, and I do have a video coming out on that soon. I'm just going to disable traffic global for a second here. We don't actually need it for today's flight. That seemed to help a little bit. Because it's loading aircraft into all the other airports around us that we're not visiting, so... Beautiful. Set a nice view here on the windscreen. How about that? Right, let's... we'll just climb at this here. I think I normally set the torque about 35, 36. Should do. Just keep an eye on it. Make sure we don't have a high ITT or torque or anything. And we are. You can, by the way, in IES mode, click the down or the up. So I think down will increase the airspeed slightly. So we can just click that a couple of times so we actually climb at 150. There we are. All right, and yeah. So now we're on the nav. The mountain on your right wing is a Pilatus. Is that mountain actually called Pilatus? Is that where Pilatus got their name, I guess? Very nice. Thank you for the information. Really appreciate that. It's one of the reasons I love streaming and being able to chat with you guys, you know, whilst we're live, because all the information that you guys have is fantastic. So yeah, thank you very much. Looks beautiful in X-Plane as well. We've got global forests, custom orthos. Fantastic. That's where it got that name. Ah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. That's some really nice information. And yeah, terrain is just beautiful. It really is. I did a flight here with auto ortho earlier and it looks so nice, and then I thought, nah, for this stream we're gonna make some custom orthos with some higher quality elevation data and some nicer meshing and stuff like that, because this just looks so good. And we of course have the same going into LOWI as well, into Innsbruck. We forgot our lights. But I think everything else looks good for now. I don't know why I turned them on. We don't actually need them right now, since we are going to be above 10,000. And we'll go standard on the altimeters as well. As you can see, our torque continues to slightly decrease as we get to a higher altitude. Yeah, it is beautiful, and it is a very fun aircraft to fly. I will say that it's a lot of fun. Of course, you can do IFR ops like we're doing today. You can do VFR operations as well. You can get this thing in and out of some really interesting airstrips. So we're obviously going into Innsbruck, but then we're also going to go into Locker as well, and that is a very interesting approach, to say the least. Drishal, is there any paid DMs that are better than Sony's LiDAR, because you can only do one tile at a time? Not that I know of, Shakovic. I use Sony's LiDAR, and that's what I use for this tile actually, and it's perfectly fine. And yeah, you can only do one tile at a time, which is a bit of a shame, but I think it's worth it. As far as I know, there's no paid LiDARs or DEMS data. Look at that. Beautiful. I love flying in this region of the world for this exact reason. Just looks so good. Of course, no auto throttle on the aircraft, so we are monitoring it ourselves. We'll check in with it every now and then. Sometimes we've got to increase that power a little bit every now and then. Stay at about 35.5 on the torque. There we are. Did a bunch of tasks for Iceland using Sony's auto for XP1.4, and it looks amazing. Yeah, exactly. And that's where Sony's LiDAR can come in really useful for areas like Svalbard and areas like Iceland and the Faroe Islands. Unfortunately, the X-Plane default mesh is either non-existent or completely flat for those areas. So you can use Sony's LiDAR to get those areas, which is beautiful. And yeah, this aircraft does have nice sounds. Listen to that. Beautiful. Keep an eye on the ITT as well. You can, of course, pop this out, and I love that you can pop everything out. If you're making a home cockpit of some sort, this is going to be very useful because you can pop every single instrument out, even the temperature. Cabin temp here, 30 degrees, that's a little bit hot. Get the heating off. And like I said, you can move this tablet about. And nice, you can see the click spot is sort of almost highlighted a little bit. I guess there's some sort of like, I guess, sticky residue or something left, but yeah, it makes it really nice. Very cool. There is a little hour gauge down here. As you can see now, I reinstalled the aircraft just before the stream because I still had a slightly older version, so I reinstalled on the latest version. But so that sort of reset itself, but that was up to about 3-4 hours. So this does actually count your hours, which is really cool. Obviously, it doesn't save when you reinstall and stuff, but that's fine. So climbing out nicely. What zoom level is this? So it's zoom level 17, and then with AutoFX 1.4 you can make it so automatically near any airport which has an ICAO code has zoom level 19. So that's what I've set. So it's zoom level 17 for most areas, and then near airports it's zoom level 19. And I've not used X-Enviro Shakovich, and I'm not particularly familiar with it, so I'm not sure there. Is it on the same level as the CIS planes? It's kind of a difficult one because they are, you know, completely different aircraft. I would have to say the CIS has, I would say, let me think. The CIS planes are cheaper. The CIS planes, I think, visually look a little bit better. The textures inside are a little bit better. And I think the sounds are slightly better, but it's very difficult to compare a twin-engine piston aircraft to this kind of aircraft, which is much larger. And alright, there's 1,000 to go. Much larger, and of course turboprop. But honestly, I think you'll be happy with either. They're both fantastic aircraft. The CIS aircraft have been confirmed by the dev to have integration with the TDS GTN XI devices when they come out, and in fact they already have their hands on those. So on day one we'll have access to that, which is very nice. On this aircraft we're still not 100% sure. But both very nice. I think this has a bit more customization. Of course, it's got a much more in-depth EFB. It's a slightly different approach to the aircraft, you know, but it's very cool. Ryan, I'm looking at picking this up or the Caravan. Which would you say is better? So I've not tried the Caravan. I don't have the Caravan, so I can't unfortunately really speak to that too much. But I will say this is a newer aircraft. Oh, frames. What is going on? I did this exact flight earlier and everything was completely fine, so I've got no idea what's going on here. I do apologise. So yeah, I don't have the Caravan, so I can't really speak to how good that is. I will say this is the newer aircraft, so it probably is going to be a little bit better than the Caravan because it's newer. It might have some new features and stuff like that. And the PC-12 is also just a fantastic aircraft, so I guess it's maybe personal preference over the Caravan or the PC-12. Are you on latest beta? I am. So let's, I'm just going to throttle back a little bit here and get the performance charts up. I think it's a beta issue with VRAM and CPU usage. I'm not the only one who's reported this issue. A couple of people in my Discord seem to have the same issue as well. So, let's go to cruise, which is page. So if we go to cruise power 21, and we go to ISA, so we're at exactly ISA today, and we're at 18,000. Okay, so we follow this along. We're at roughly 8,000 pounds today is our weight, so we can select so we got indicated airspeed, true airspeed. So our indicated will be 200 if we set our torque, as we can see here, at 33.7. Did I read that correctly? I did. 33.7. All right, so let's put that in. So we'll put 337 in and we'll cruise at that. That should give us 200 knots. And we'll get as close as we can. There we are. A little bit too much. ITT is high, but we'll keep an eye on it. There we are, that'll do us just fine. And that should hold us at about 200. Caravan texture is a bit old in places, right? Thank you very much, Jesse, for that. Yeah. I don't have any of the only other Thranda aircraft I have is a Cessna 172, but then I do also have some aircraft that are in collaboration with Thranda from Just Flight, such as the 152, the PA28R, which I just reviewed, and you can check out that review on xplanereviews.com. And I also have the Duchess as well. So this should hopefully stop at, so as you can see, we've got faster, our torque's higher, so we've got to bring that back a little bit. And it should hold up at about 200. And that should do us just fine for today's flight. See, we've still got our rudder trim in, perfect. Ah, switch, so you've got worse performance as well. Yeah, I think it's a beta. Some people have been saying there's a VRAM leak. I've not tried a long haul yet, but some people were saying that there's a definite VRAM leak as well. So I think it is a beta issue, but I need to do more testing. I've not had time, to be honest. Looks like our performance is a little bit better now. Yeah. The PC-12 is a beautiful aircraft in real life, and so glad to have it in X-Plane 12 now. Alright. We should be passing Zurich shortly as well. We'll be passing almost right over Zurich. It's way off over there somewhere. But yeah, we're on our way. There we are. You can see LSZC there. That's Zurich. And as you can see, our speed is stabilized at 200. Look at that. Perfect. Very nice. So even though there's no auto throttle, you can kind of set the throttle and almost walk away. You'll just hold it. Beautiful. What a fantastic aircraft. And of course, I've not flown the PC-12 in real life ever. The only thing I've flown is I'm currently doing my PPL training, if you don't know, my private pilot license training on a Cessna 152. So again, I might not be flying this to completely correct procedures, but I am doing my best. And I can't wait to be flying these kind of aircraft in real life, honestly. Hopefully I can one day. There is actually a PC-12 stationed at the local airfield I fly at, where I do all my training. So I've seen it a few times now. I'm hoping if I see the pilot or the owner or something, I can maybe take a quick look inside and ask some questions, now that we have this beautiful aircraft here as well. And there's Zurich down there, and there's Zurich International Airport as well. Interestingly, if we go to VRAM profile, yeah, we can see that VRAM device budget, device use. So we're using a fair bit right now. I do have auto running as well, giving us some autos for in between these airports. And yeah, look at that, holding 200 knots perfectly at that power setting. Very, very cool. And what's our true airspeed? Our true airspeed is 168 knots. We got no wind, so that means our ground speed is the same, 268 knots. And look at this. So we got distance to the next waypoint, and we have our ETE as well. Very nice. Yeah, it's a very cool aircraft. I do really enjoy flying it. And again, a big thank you to Dan for providing a copy of the aircraft to the channel to stream and to review. I will go over my final verdict at the end of the stream, but I think you guys can all tell right now it's fairly positive. And again, that's not just because I've been given it for free, you know, it's completely my opinion. But yeah, I'd be, if I purchase this aircraft, I'd be very happy, to be honest. Is how I see it. Just a lot of fun to fly, especially if you like these kind of aircraft. Of course, the other aircraft I can think of which is similar to this is the Aerospace E1000, the Epic E1000, which I absolutely love flying that as well. It's a great turboprop with, again, a PT6 engine, and it's the same price as this, and they're both fantastic. I do recommend both. I think the sounds on that one are a little bit better though, with the engine start sounds, but that has a on that, the flight model is nice, but it's a little bit twitchy, I'd say, and same with the ground handling. On this, it's not twitchy and the ground handling's better. So if you were to compare both, that's not really the purpose of the stream, but if you were to compare this to the Aerospace E1000, seeing as they're the same price and pretty much very similar aircraft, you know, both have advantages and disadvantages, I'd say. PC-12 is a lot, obviously better known, more well-known aircraft. It does have a sim brief profile as well by default in sim brief. That's what I'm using today, which is nice. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful aircraft. Very simple to fly. Once you get the navigation down, if you know how to use a GNS anyway, you'll be fine. The only issue I had, which isn't an issue with the aircraft, it was an issue that I had myself personally, is I couldn't get it to follow the navigation until I set nav here and set this to GPS. That was, of course, my own issue, but once I worked that one out, we were good to go. Having doubts with the PC-12, knowing the TBM is coming along, yeah, that's one to watch out for, the TBM. That's going to be pretty good, I hope, from hot start, obviously. That was great in X-Plane 11. I didn't have it. By the time I got around to wanting to get it, X-Plane 12 released and just never got the chance, really. But yeah, that's going to be very cool in X-Plane 12. It really is. And if hot start do what they've done with the CL 650, you know, with that kind of level of detail, it's going to be next level. It really is. Absolutely amazing. You can move the AFB to this side as well. Have the PT6 and love it. Yeah, I saw that aircraft as well. I would be quite tempted. Of course, sim coders tend to make reality expansion packs. I know they've done one for the PC6. I wonder if they're going to do some a reality expansion pack for this aircraft as well. That'd be pretty cool, and just take it to a whole new level, you know. So we'll have to see. If that does come out, I will be sure to get that. But it looks good. Looks very good. Nice sounds. Very nice F-mod sounds. Yeah, just cruising along here, 200 knots. Good stuff. Like I said, I've not really had any issues with the aircraft. Nothing major. Just make sure when you download it, if you've already downloaded it, It seems like there was a slightly older beta version on the X-Plane store that was put on there, and therefore when you update with Skunkcraft Updater, you'll get an older beta version. So just make sure you just remove that beta version config file Skunkcraft from the aircraft folder, and then reinstall the aircraft, and you'll be good to go. Make sure you're on version 1, not a release candidate. Not that I had any issues. I was on the older version before and had no issues, and upgraded to this, and again had no issues. So all looking good. Performance is back to where it should be, looks like. So yeah, honestly, for the price, can't complain about the aircraft at all. Of course, it's not absolutely top level. Like systems wise, I'd say it's pretty good. You know, I really can't complain. You know, it's great, especially for the aircraft. I mean, you can hear as I turn my head there. If you have stereo headphones on, you'll be able to hear the difference here. Immersive. That's very immersive, especially when you got head tracking and you start looking from side to side, and the sound changes as you move your head. It's brilliant. And there is some sunshades as well here, as you can see. You can bring round. You can kind of drag them and clip them into the fuselage there. So maybe you don't want to do that. Yeah, it's all good. We can go to the flight computer now. We can see the outside temperature. We can see our ground speed in knots, in mile per hour and kilometers per hour. Our endurance, we got 1 hour 51 of fuel, which is more than enough. Our alternate from Innsbruck is Zurich, so that's more than enough. I don't know why the range or the miles per gallon isn't working. We got density, altitude, pressure, altitude, true airspeed, fuel flow. I just reset the fuel burn, but you can see the fuel being burnt there as well. Not sure why the range and miles per gallon isn't working. That's interesting. But you do have endurance here, 1 hour 50, and fuel used anyway, so cool. You can see our gens, Gen 1, Gen 2. Don't have much on Gen 2, it looks like, but I guess it's disconnected right now. We've got engine oil and pressure, everything's in the green. Looks good, and you can test this as well, as you can see. You can reset the fuel and all sorts, so there's a lot you can do. The weather radar does work as well. Put it on map mode maybe. But that does work. Look at that, I've not touched the power at all and we're still set at 200 knots. The beauty of power tables. Let's hop over to the first officer's side. Of course, this is a single operation aircraft. It can be operated single pilot, which is why it's such an attractive choice in real life. Oh, and another feature, you can click this and you get a noise cancelling earphone simulation. As you can see, everything goes much quieter. So this is actually quite cool. It's quite immersive. If you want to simulate wearing like noise cancelling headphones and stuff like that. But we want to hear the beautiful engine sounds. Lovely. Fantastic. So in other news, I did see that Level Up are releasing their 737 series based on the Zebo tomorrow. Actually, I won't be able to stream it tomorrow. This will be the last stream before Christmas, and then I've got a couple of streams planned between Christmas and New Year, and then of course I'll be off for New Year as well. So Level Up will probably have to wait until after New Year's Eve, or maybe I'll stream it on the 28th, I don't know. But on the 27th of December, we're doing a stream with Emirates Virtual Airlines, who invited me to one of their Christmas events and asked if I could stream it as well with full ATC coverage guaranteed at Dubai. So we'll be doing that as well on the 27th, which is pretty exciting. And then at some point we'll take a look at the level up 737s. We need to take a look at the new short final design, or SFD Mr. X6 LAX Los Angeles Airport version 2, which came out, and he's very kindly provided a copy of that as well just yesterday. So I do have that fantastic airport and we will stream that at some point. And I have Thai Models Beijing Airport for Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 and 24 to take a look at as well. So yeah, quite a few things to be streaming, but it's a good time for Flight Sim, especially X-Plane. So many releases, you know, we've had this, the Talk Sim Citation, we've had the Captain Iceman series PA44, which I streamed just last stream on Saturday, and that was with the developer Captain Iceman himself. If you do want to take a look at that, do go ahead and take a look. That was a really fun VFR flying stream in Norway with the developer, of course, so that was a lot of fun. So yeah, lots and lots. Alright, so just waiting to start our descent then. I've pretty much got a mental note of when we should start our descent based on the practice flight I did earlier, which is basically going to be in the middle between Gamsa, which is where we've just crossed, and Madeb. So somewhere in the middle of here we'll start our descent. And then it's just the RNAV approach, and this handles RNAV approaches very well. I did an RNAV approach all the way into Innsbruck earlier on this approach we're about to commence, and the aircraft handled it beautifully, so very impressed with that. Like I said, the autopilot has been pretty good. But yeah, if you do have any suggestions or questions, do be sure to ask them in the chat. Always happy to take a look at those. But I've been really enjoying this kind of flying in these smaller aircraft recently, in the PA44, in this, and the Citation jet. It's been a lot of fun. A nice break away from the airliners. I think it's time for another slow flyby before we start our descent. The sounds are so good. Exterior sounds are very good, at least. Interior sounds are nice as well. I do like the livery Pilatus there on the wing. Look at that, what a screenshot. Oh yeah. Do you have any news about the FPS 747? I don't. I know it's been worked on, but I don't know much more than anyone else. I will try and contact the dev. I do have the SSG 747. I do actually quite like it as well. So yeah, I'll try and get some news on that for you guys. When it does come out, we'll try and stream that as well. Because the FPS 747. The SSG 747 has actually improved quite a lot since it released, so it's actually in a pretty good state right now, I'd have to say. Maybe not the best visually. The sounds leave a lot to be desired, if I'm being honest, but it flies quite well, flies nicely. For the price, I think it's priced similar to this actually, so it's not too bad, you know. It's like half the price of the Flight Factor 777 or the Tolis aircraft. So you're not obviously going to get the quality of those aircraft, but it works. I've not encountered any major bugs in the SSG 747. Of course, the FPS version will hopefully bring lots of improvements to it as well. Are you using Visual XP? I am, although you can't really see the Visual XP effects right now. I don't use Visual XP for the atmospheric lighting and the sky colors. I use a separate LOWI script called the Sky Reel, developed by a user in our Discord actually. And then I just use Visual XP for night lighting, with some custom night lighting add-ons, which I will release at some point as well once I sort of finish finalizing those. I just use Visual XP to make them a little bit brighter, and then for clouds as well, and water actually. Alright, so let's start our descent. If I do this, we can show you the approach here, and as you can see by LMM, we need to be at about 13,000, and we have a decision height of 2,900. So let's do that. Will you share your Visual XP preset? Yes, I can in just a second, absolutely. So let's set 13,000 here, and then I'll select IAS mode, bring the power back a little bit, and essentially what the aircraft's going to do is descend at 200 knots, which will actually probably slow down. We'll descend at maybe 150, and we'll control the descent rate with a power, is essentially what we're doing here. Alright. Yeah, I'll share my Visual XP preset in a second. That's true, I'll definitely watch the stream of yours with the SSG 747. Yeah, I do want to stream the current SSG 747 when I get a chance. We've had so many releases recently. And then of course we'll try and stream the new FPS version when that comes out as well. So slowing it down to 150, and then we'll descend. There's 150, we'll select IAS there. There we are, and we're descending now down to 13,000, and we'll select decision height, so we can see DH there on the PFD, and we can select it here. So if we just hold it until we get to 2,900 essentially. So yeah, once you do a couple of flights, you'll be fairly familiar with the aircraft. It's a lot of fun, and not too difficult either, pretty easy. Alright, there we are, descending 150 and nicely, 1,500 feet per minute descent rate. That's absolutely perfect for us. And everything on the overhead looks good. I'm just going to get all my lights on. I know it's early, but I don't want to forget them. And here, if I go to procedure, you can see activate approach. I'm not going to do it yet, but I will do it. I'll get it preset there. So all I have to do is click enter, and we can activate the approach. And yeah, just controlling my descent rate now with my throttle. If I bring back the power, we're going to descend faster to maintain 150 knots. If I add power, of course, it's going to descend slower to maintain 150 knots. That's what this IAS mode is for. It's maintaining. It's like flight level change, essentially. Well, actually, no, it's not like flight level change, is it at all? It's essentially it's going to descend at whatever rate will hold this airspeed for the given power setting, if that makes sense. Yeah, descending nicely. Look at the terrain though, it's just beautiful. I actually think this kind of terrain in XP12 does look better than Microsoft Flight Sim, because the detail in the terrain and the imagery is generally a bit higher quality. Of course, in Microsoft Flight Sim it's all streamed, so it's lower quality. Still looks fantastic, do not get me wrong, but when you've custom made it, it just looks great. Yeah, we'll be down to 13,000 shortly. Not long to go at all. Is that auto-author? No, not at the moment. So auto-author we use during cruise. And then right now we should be in the region of my custom authors. So this is what I like to do generally, is I've got custom authors for airports, and I've got all the custom terrain and stuff like that for airports. And then in cruise it doesn't matter too much, you're at a high altitude, so I use auto-author there pretty much. So I tend to sort of use both auto-author and auto for XP. So auto-author is still running in the background. It's just it's not doing anything right now, because it's detecting that, okay, we've got this auto for XP tile, therefore auto-author doesn't need to be doing anything. essentially. And Navigraph is so useful for situations like this because we can just sit here and check on Navigraph. But we will activate this approach now, and you can see there's the approach. 1,000 to go, so we're going to hit that perfect. Look at that. And then we'll just maintain power. So we'll level off at 13,000, and then we'll activate the approach mode and let it do its thing, essentially let VNav approach take over. And it will control our lateral and our vertical navigation, which is very nice. Yeah, auto looks great in situations like this. I just, you know, if you have the time and the space for it, auto for XP does look fantastic as well. Right, we're going to increase the power to maintain 150 knots here. I don't have a reference, I'm just going to do it visually, essentially. The approach is armed, so go to approach mode and select, I think it was 3,000. Alright, now we just let it do its thing. Can we take a look at the glass? Can we take a look to the glass cockpit when we land? Do you mean the G1000 isn't implemented yet? Sim crash fly, if that's what you mean. It will be implemented soon. They just have a couple of things to fix with that. So we have our lateral deviation here. We've got our vertical deviation here, and shortly that will come in, and then we'll start descending automatically. And you can see here we're on nav and GS. Glide slope is armed there. Just bring the power back slightly. Is the Thranda PC-12 better than the Coronado? I don't have the Coronado, but yes, absolutely. From what I've seen of the Coronado and what I've heard of the Coronado isn't fantastic in XP12. I don't think it has even been officially updated for XP12. I'm not entirely sure. But I would say this is the best PC-12 in the sim right now. There's the descent, right on time, and then we're just going to manage the power here to maintain 150. Again, not really got any reference points from this, from the performance. I'm just going to do it, you know, monitoring the airspeed, good old-fashioned manual method, I guess. Yeah, G1000. Yeah, unfortunately we can't today because it's not implemented yet, but in a future stream we absolutely will, for sure. Just bring that power back so we don't get fast. And QNH will be 1015 because it is just ISA conditions. If you don't know, ISA is International Standard Atmosphere. So set 1015. Oh, we need to unset it, don't we? Yeah, there we are. 1015. Hey Nikki, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for being here. Beautiful PC-12 aircraft. Just checking what our missed approach altitude is. 9,500. Alright, we'll set that as we get closer to the runway, but just on the RNAV approach here, as you can see, aircraft is handling it very well. And we're just managing that speed ourselves. Did you also experience a lot of CTDs in XP? I've not had any crash to desktops, any CTDs, but I've had my performance has been quite unstable in the latest beta. As you can see, my VRAM has been quite high and my CPU usage has been very high. It's just in the background, it's been sat at like 100% almost constantly, which is not normal at all. So that's either something, you know, an issue with my PC, which I don't think it is, because I've not had any issues in anything else. I think it's more of an XP issue because other people have been reporting the same. I might actually switch off the beta and do some testing tomorrow if I get a chance. But yeah, looking good for the descent here. We got all our lights on, or the lights that we need at least. We don't need any Pro P or de-ice or anti-ice or anything. This does have boots, as you can see. I wonder if they're animated. So the boots should be on the leading edge of the aircraft, as you can see. I don't think they will be, but let's take a look here. Yeah, I don't think the boots are animated. I wouldn't expect it anyway. I don't think any add-on has animated de-icing boots. If you don't know, the boots are essentially inflatables on the leading edge of the wing here, and it will inflate and increase the surface area and break the ice essentially. So de-icing though is not for anti-icing. That's if you already have ice there. Do you leave the rudder trim set to the right during normal cruise? I have, yes, and that seems to work well for me. Although if that's the official procedure, I don't know. I did try looking it up and couldn't find too much information on a lot of videos on YouTube on the PC-12 are essentially adverts to buy it. There's not a huge amount on flying. There's one good video on starting the PC-12, which is fantastic. And has been shared on the forums as well, but I couldn't find anything on, you know, a full flight, so I'm not sure if that is correct or not, Stephen. But that's what I've been doing, and it seems to be working fine. And I don't think there's any harm in leaving that yaw trim set there during the cruise anyway. If anyone does know what the official procedure is for that, do let me know. But yeah, I couldn't find anything on it. I did have a look. Q4XP has de-icing model. Oh, has it? Ah, well, Q4XP. It's amazing, isn't it? It is also double the price, to bear in mind. But yeah, we might be able to get... There's Innsbruck, just right around the corner of that mountain. But as you can see, we're descending nicely. 150. We'll start to slow it down a little bit fairly soon. I didn't know the Q4XP has a de-icing model. I need to take a look at that now because that's going to be pretty cool. Seeing boots inflate like that. Double the price, double the expectation. Absolutely. On an aircraft like this, it's a great aircraft, and I think it's a very fair price as well. I think any higher and it would start to be on the expensive side. But I think it's priced very fairly in my opinion. And it is worth the money. To learn how to fly general aviation, do you think the PC-12 is a great start? I wouldn't suggest starting with a turboprop aircraft, because there's, you know, some extra things you've got to take care of. I'd start with the, you know, 172 or something is a perfect place to start, or 152 PA-28, something like that, something which you train on in real life. You know, because trying to jump into this straight away is going to be potentially a little bit complex. I'm going to start slowing down, and we'll add some flap once we're in the right arc. So how do you get the plane to catch GPS flight path? Mine keeps not engaging even when I hand fly to the flight path. So you need to make sure you click this nav button and you have GPS set here. It should say GPS. You need to have GPS set here, and then you select nav on the autopilot panel and engage your autopilot, and it should work for you. That's what I did at least. Alright, continue to bring the power back here. We're at idle power and it's slowing us down. Once we're in the white arc, we'll get some flaps out. Come on. Once we get the flaps out, we'll get some extra drag. We don't want to over speed the aircraft or the flaps. There we are. We'll get flaps out. First stage of flaps can go out. We'll get the landing gear down shortly as well. Remember, after this landing, we'll be going to, to Locker Airfield and Corvara, which is very much not going to be IFR. They are going to be VFR flights through the mountains, which will be a lot of fun. And we'll put the gear down. We'll go for another set of flaps. We're going to be landing around 80 knots today. 80, 85 knots should do us just fine. And I'm going to add some power now. Don't want to get too slow. You can see the aircraft yawing there slightly from the additional power. This aircraft has a lot of torque, and therefore you really feel that yaw, which is why we need to add that yaw trim. And alright, I'm going to disconnect the autopilot. my aircraft, and I'm just going to select approach again, flight director, so I have that. Yaw damper is off. My aircraft now. How beautiful this approach. And we'll get our last stage of flaps in once we do this final turn. That's the PC-12 yaw damper, it does. You see it just there. So we're just going to follow this flight director. We can set around 90 knots. What we'll do is we'll stay around here, and then once we make this final turn, we'll get our last stage of flaps in. Aircraft's nicely in trim, and we'll slow it down to 80, 85, which is our final approach speed. But yeah, beautiful. Lovely to hand fly as well, like I said. And you can feel the wind as well. I don't have any wind right now, unfortunately, but when you do have wind, I had wind earlier. It's only like a 5-knot crosswind coming in here earlier today during my test flight, but you really do feel it. Landing gears down. I don't know why my frames are suffering so bad right now. They were fine before. I thought that was a mesh issue then. Right, keep it on the flight director. We'll make that final turn shortly. I even restarted my PC before the stream, just in case. There's Innsbruck. You can see the runway to our left there. Speed is good. Nice RNAV approach here, and as you can see, the aircraft handles RNAV fantastic. A lot of fun to fly. Very easy to do as well. A nice shallow turn. Add a bit of power. Don't want to get slow. Remember, we're not full flap. So gear is down. We need to go one more set of flaps in a second here. There we are. Alright, so final set of flaps. Alright, retrim the aircraft because now we've got flaps, so our trim completely changes. You can feel that extra drag. So we need to add a little bit extra power. Like I said, the flight model is fantastic. You add flap and you can feel the nose rise. And you can feel the drag. So you need to add power, which then makes you yaw a little bit to the left. So you got to kind of correct your rudder a little bit. It's a lot of fun to hand fly this plane, as you can see. I'm going to bring this power up just a little bit, start to slow it down a tiny bit more towards our final approach speed. Looking good on this approach. Into Innsbruck. As always, Innsbruck is absolutely beautiful. Make sure the aircraft is trimmed. Get quite close to these power lines here. Don't want to get too close. Get back on that center line. Still following the flight director, but we're going to go visual now. Pretty much. So we got 3 reds, 1 white. That's fine. Speed is good. Now it's purely visual. Nice and center line. Bring the power off. Flare. Don't overflare it though. There we are. And we'll go beta. Listen to those sounds. Alright. And we'll get out of beta. Otherwise we're going to have a long taxi. I'm actually going to add a bit of power to get us off the runway here. But yeah, there we are. Welcome to Innsbruck. We'll take a look at that landing in the replay, of course. We can put the flaps up now. All right. And we can see our exit here. There we are. Flight director can go off. All right. There we are. We're just going to park up on the left here. Nothing too serious. Stab trim, that's fine. We'll reset that. And we'll bring the condition lever down to ground idle. And yeah, we'll park off to the left here. We're not going to go into these larger airliner stands. That's not for us. And we are going to take this on the second leg. So we'll shut down the engine and we'll restart it just so we can hear those beautiful sounds again. And then we're going to head over to purely VFR, to Corvara, and then to Locker. Alright, so stop it there then. And we'll set the parking brake. Let's see, landing and taxi recognition. Strobe lights can go off. And we'll kill the engine. There it goes. There we are. Do we have the rudder aileron interconnect? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean, are they coupled in real life? In the Caronado, the reverse thrust was almost impossible to control. Looks quite good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I just put it in beta, and you can control it. I can't do it right now. It looks like because the engine is off. Listen to those fuel pumps. Nice. All right. Right before the battery discharges, then let's go ahead and restart the engine. But I do want to just reset my trim. So your trim's fine. I'm just going to set my nose trim back to 0. That'll be fine. And everything looks good. So yeah, we're pretty much just going to go ahead and restart the engine straight away. I am just going to take you through our where we're going now. So it's a really short flight through the mountains here. From Innsbruck, as you can see here, we're going to head to Corvara. Got some lovely scenery for this whole area. And then we're going to head to Locker here, which is a very interesting airfield, as you can see, and that'll be a lot of fun to fly into. So, from Innsbruck, we're probably just gonna, we'll go follow these roads or something to come to Corvara, and then we're gonna go to this airport and take a right and go through this valley and land at Locker. It'll be a lot of fun. PC-12 has interconnect. Okay, well, I'm not sure how that works or if it's modeled, to be honest. That's a little bit more advanced, but you can ask the dev for sure on the forums or something. I'm on lossless. Why are you not working for me? Alright, so let's go ahead and start the second portion of our flight. It's called Rudder Aileron Interconnect. Is it a switch inside the cockpit, or is it just a system? But everything looked good for the start. You can see the fuel pumps coming on and off there with the appropriate sounds as well. Beautiful. No, it has it always on with speed. The effect reduces, right? So I guess it's a coupling. I think it does, if I'm being honest. If it's something that important, it would be modeled, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know for sure 100%. You would have to ask the dev that. Anyway, let's go ahead and start the engine again then. So, same procedure. It's just going to be, we'll hit the starter and add the fuel in. So, hit the starter. Watch the NG. You hear the igniters firing there. And we'll put the fuel in. Ground idle. Just keep an eye on the ITT, the NG. We don't know hung start or hot start. There it goes, look at that. RPM's coming up. Check the SWS PC-12. This isn't the SimWorks Studios simulation. This is the Thranda in XP12. Yeah, it sounds great. It does. These turboprops sound amazing. Alright, so... yeah, we're good to go here. We'll just go straight for it, really. Get my navigraph up. Just let me sort out my Volanta. Oh, we need to take a look at the replay, don't we? Right, simulation, I can't go through and look through a whole manual right now during the stream, but if you ask me on Discord, if you send me a message on Discord, I'll take a look through the manual and I'll get back to you there. Unfortunately, I can't right now on stream. Sounds like power. It does. Alright, so let's take a look at that replay. I know we've started the engine, but we should be fine. I've almost forgot that. There we are. I was actually quite happy with that landing. I think that might be the best landing I've done yet on the aircraft. It's quite easy to float it if you overflare. It's going to be stuttery though, unfortunately. It's this replay. All right. Yeah, you just hold it off there in ground effect and it'll settle down nicely. Yeah, look at that. And then you go straight into beta. We didn't really need beta for this runway. I just wanted to show off the sounds, really. So we'll do one or two more views, then we'll get going here. I do apologize for the horrible stuttering and performance right now. Yeah, happy with that landing actually. Just held it off in the ground effect, came down quite nicely. There's a beta. Alright, anyway, let's get out of this stuttery mess of a replay. Alright, and we're back. Why does your replay stutter every time since I can remember you? It just, I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't stutter, sometimes it does. How is FPS? FPS in the aircraft is great. My current FPS right now is terrible. But nothing to do with the aircraft. That's my PC, and the X-Plane beta isn't very good for performance. But yeah, no, the aircraft performance is good because before I updated my X-Plane, it was perfect. But yeah, right now the issue with performance is to do with my X-Plane setup, really. Although it's not bad now, 40. Anyway, let's release the parking brake. We'll go flaps 15. And we'll taxi to the runway here. X-Plane, yeah, I'm on the beta as well, which is worth noting. So we'll taxi to the runway and then we're just going to go VFR like I said. The sounds seem the same sounds as the Grand Caravan. I don't have that aircraft, so I can't confirm, but they might be. It is the same. The Grand Caravan has a PT6 engine, right? So, as far as I know. But the sounds are good. The engine start sounds could maybe be a little bit better. But it's not too bad at all. The other sounds are fantastic, especially the exterior sounds very nice. Yeah, purely VFR. This is just for fun, by no means procedure. We've done our, you know, our procedural IFR flight to show off the aircraft and the autopilot capabilities. Now we're just going to have a little bit of fun VFR, really. But the aircraft is good, very good. Yeah, so Cessnas and Pipers are a perfect place to start in terms of training. But yeah, you can do VFR here today. You can do VFR with pretty much anything, really, as long as you got the weather for it. And of course, in the simulator, the good thing is you can always have the weather for it, like we do here. We're not going to use the entire extent of the runway because I don't really feel like going all the way over there to backtrack. We've got plenty long enough runway here. So we'll just line up here. Again, it handles very nicely on the ground as well. It's not twitchy or anything like that. And the brakes are nice, actually. The brakes aren't twitchy either. So lights can go on. It's a bit of a sightseeing flight this will be. Go flight idle on the condition lever. Everything else looks good to me. Nothing on the enunciator panel. Let's go flying. Ronaldo, yes, yeah, the sounds are great. I'm really happy. If the Caravan has the same sounds in this, then that's a good thing for sure. Funny how I learned IFR but never VFR. I did the same. Only started doing VFR stuff until, you know, after I started my flight training. So it's a funny world of flight sim, eh? Anyway, we'll slowly add the power. And we'll use, yeah, 36 will be good on the torque. Don't overstress the engine. Alright, we'll rotate there. Nice smooth rotation. Gear can go up. And 100 knots. The flaps can go up too. And those will drop slightly. Perfect. Very nice flight model. And there's a little valley off here to the right, and we'll take that most likely. So this is just VFR flying through the mountains now. Just remembered about the Totus A321 ground handling is pretty slow. It means that it doesn't match my joystick turning. Oh, yeah, but then larger airliners have tillers and hydraulics and all that sort of stuff that you do have to contend with. That is something you should probably remember. In real life, you know, the aircraft won't just turn on a dime at all. So we'll follow this valley. Shouldn't be too long of a flight here to Corvara. Big thank you to Skylar Co, aka Sierra Kilo, for setting me up with the scenery here. It's beautiful. The whole ortho tile and the airport itself. Right, there we are. So you don't want to overstress the engine like I just did. And I will show you when we land in locker that you can blow the engine up essentially, and you know, get smoke in the cockpit. So I'll show you that. Yeah, we'll just take a beautiful flight through this valley here, headed up to Corvara. Just literally looking at my navigraph here.
Caution terrain. Caution terrain.
Hopefully we don't get that all the time. If not, I'll try and inhibit it. Yeah, if you try and, you know, stick the tiller all the way one way and then all the way the other way, it's just not going to react in time, which is true to, you know, the real thing. It doesn't react instantly. So you do got to pay attention. anything to do with sensitivity? No, it shouldn't do. It's just larger airliners. There's all sorts of hydraulics and stuff at play to move those heavy landing gears and turn them, right? So it's not going to happen straight away. Yeah, just following the valley here. Hello N1, welcome. AKA Ben, using your beautiful sky colors as always. Alright, just taking a flight through the valley. I'll show you guys on Navigraph here. You can see us here in the valley and Corvara just down here, and then Locker as well. So that's our flight. Isn't M1's profile picture PC-12? I can't see from here. The profile picture on my screen is too small, but it might well be. It is. There you are. So you got to get this aircraft then, haven't you? Looks awesome. It is. It's a lot of fun to fly. Such a beautiful aircraft flying these mountains here, following the valley. I just wish my performance was a little bit better.
Caution terrain. Caution terrain.
I think they should inhibit it if I turn this off.
Caution terrain.
Nope, never mind.
Caution terrain.
Yeah, this is a great one, Ben. This is a really, really great aircraft. A lot of fun to fly.
Caution terrain. Caution terrain. Caution terrain.
See, there's a train track. You know what we're going to do? We're going to fly above these mountains here to Corvara, because I don't see a valley going directly there.
Terrain.
Beautiful flying. I wonder if you can get some sort of permission to do this in real life with all the proper qualifications, just fly in the valleys. That'd be a lot of fun. What I find really cool is that you can actually fly this plane with just a PPO. Yeah, I think you need you'll need a gas turbine and pressurization endorsement from what I've seen online. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, as long as you're not flying it for commercial reasons, I don't see why you need anything else. It's a great option as well, a single pilot aircraft. Of course, if you are flying this for commercial reasons, which most people are going to be for their job, you know, then you will need a commercial license. Scenery is auto for XP, yes. Although this tile here that we're now in was provided to me by Skylar Co. Sierra Kilo. So it doesn't have my custom auto settings, but it has a custom mesh which you need for the airport as well. That house is very isolated on the left. Yeah, imagine living in this terrain. It'd be beautiful. Yeah, this kind of flying is a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it recently as well. Now imagine taking a Citation 525 through here. Beautiful. Already about halfway through to Corvara. So just short hops now, finish off the stream pretty much. I live in a similar situation, just getting to school is a pain. Oh, so this is how we had to get to school. Your situation is true then, isn't it? But it's beautiful. Really is. Last stream flying in Norway and now this. Can't complain at all. Imagine you need another bottle of milk and have to walk back to the village. Yeah, the sounds are really nice. Oh, come on. Performance. the stutters, I don't know what is going on. This latest beta is just not good at all on X-Plane. Guys, if you haven't updated to the latest beta, hold off. Mesh looks very Microsoft. Yeah, exactly. This mesh doesn't have my custom settings from Auto for XP and the custom mesh stuff, so that's why it doesn't look as good as before. I think this tile is also something like 6 or 7 years old now, so it doesn't have the most up-to-date data either, but it's what you have to use to get the airport to work, which is unfortunate, but for the stream I don't mind. Yeah, look at this. Sometimes I wish I chose PPOH so I can fly a helicopter to school. I tell you, I'd love to learn to fly a helicopter one day. Once I've done all my main training for like fully commercial and ATPL and all that good stuff, I'd love to do helicopters just for fun one day. Don't want to overspeed it. Also had a lot of stutters, especially when looking in another direction. Yeah, VRAM is definitely taking a hit, and I'm normally quite VRAM limited, but it's not normally this bad at all, so it is just an X-Plane issue right now, unfortunately, which hopefully they'll fix fairly soon. I remember having the Coronado PC-12 with a GTN 750 add-on, which was fun. Glad to see another PC-12. Yeah, absolutely. This PC-12 is amazing. I don't have the Coronado, so I can't compare, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a step above, for sure. And I think Coronado PC-12 owners do get a slight discount on this one as well, if I'm not mistaken. For a limited time only. Can't wait to get a proper RXP or TDS GTN device in this. It'll be a lot of fun. But having said that, the default GNS 530 there we're using has been pretty good, so can't complain at all. At least for the IFR section of our flight today. Yeah, Corvara isn't too far from here now. By the way, I can getting up to the real operation in Tolis. I can officially fly in VATSIM. Fantastic, yeah, that's a good goal to have. Make sure you know the aircraft well, and you'll be good to go in VATSIM. We'll climb up over these mountains now. One of the things I was excited about was the PC-12 engine 2024. Geez, how disappointing. Yeah, we tried that, didn't we? In our stream of Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, and it wasn't particularly good. I do want to revisit it though. But this PC-12 is fantastic. I'm so glad we have one in X-Plane now. Corvara is just on the other side of this hill. Of this mountain, I should say. I'm not sure, but if you join the Air Force, you can also learn to fly. Do you have to pay anything for that? In the UK, joining the RAF as a pilot, they only open the applications that every like 5 or 6 years, and it's very, very limited, of course. But also, you are, as far as I know, restricted. You have to stay with them for 12 years, and you owe them in that regard. So that's not something I'm looking at to join the military, unfortunately. But yes, they do pay for your flight training, but of course you have to give them 12 years of service. So it's not like you can join, do the training, and just leave straight away. Started with a PMD G737 and it was fun until the controller started screaming. Shouldn't you pass through the valley on the left? Well, we're heading to Corvara, so take a bit of a shortcut up here. I think Corvara is just over here somewhere. I just wish we had our custom auto for XP tile for this area, because the mesh would look a lot better than it does now. So it looks okay though. X-Plane is underrated, it is, unfortunately, but hey, it's a great sim and we can enjoy it, and we've got so many great developers still developing for us. And of course now TDS is bringing their fantastic GTN XI devices over to X-Plane as well. I think we actually have to go over these peaks potentially to get to Corvara. So this will be a lot of fun. 12 years, yeah, long time. Just beautiful. God, I'm really enjoying this type of flying right now, guys. Look at that. Corvara is actually off to our left here, very slightly. So of course a skiing resort. One of my friends right now is actually at Courchevel, flew into there in real life, which is very interesting. Very nice. And we'll take a quick look at Corvara. We're not going to land, we'll just take a look at it and then we'll head to Locker and we'll land there. Right, the Corvara is just down here. There it is. And we'll take some valleys back to Locker. Can we see it yet? It's just down here off the nose. There it is. That's Corvara. Popular skiing destination as far as I know. And custom modeled in this in the scenery pack I have. There it is. I believe you can land down there somewhere. I don't know where the airfield is for Corvara. Alright. I love how the engine takes a couple of seconds to respond sometimes. Very, very nice. Of course, different to piston engines, which are almost instant power delivery. There it is down there. I am just going to turn around here. And then yeah, we'll take the valleys back to Locker. It's not far from here at all. It's about a quarter or a third of the journey we just did from Innsbruck. There it is. You can see power lines and all sorts down there. I think there is an airfield here. You can land somewhere here, if I'm not mistaken. It does actually show up on X-Plane, so you can spawn in there as well. Oh, watch the engine there. Yeah, now we'll head to where we're going. Locker. What is the name of the place we're just at? That is Corvara. It won't show up on, it might not show up on Navigraph or anything like that. The code, if you want to spawn in there in X-Plane, is
Terrain.
X-Lido, X-L-I-D-O.
Terrain. Pull up.
Oh yeah, this is fun. I'd love to take a jet through here.
Terrain.
If anyone knows of some high quality jets for X-Plane, fighter jets.
Terrain.
That might be some fun. Just do the Mac loop, we'll have to do that.
Terrain. Pull up.
Nice. Sorry about the flickering, that's lots of scaling because we're at such a low FPS.
Caution terrain.
Alright. So we'll follow the valley, like I said, to Locker. Bank angle check. Bangkok, yeah. That V1 bank angle check. Oh yeah.
Terrain. Pull up.
Imagine living in these valleys.
Terrain.
Must be beautiful, right?
Pull
But
up.
also slightly inconvenient.
Terrain. Pull up.
So out of interest, do you guys enjoy a little bit of this type of flying, or do you guys enjoy more of a procedural IFR type flight? If you guys do enjoy some more VFR stuff, then we can do that for sure.
Caution terrain.
Maybe not as
Caution
sketchy as
terrain.
flying in mountains like this, but some more VFR flying, we can absolutely do that. If that's something you guys would enjoy. Because we've previously done a lot of IFR airline and stuff, and I do want to keep up with that 100%. That is a main, my main flying is still that sort of stuff, but I wouldn't mind doing this every now and then as well on stream. Provide the content you guys want to watch, essentially. Nice special on the PC-12, maybe next time on the CIS aircraft. Yeah, we can do that for sure. Prefer this, to be honest. Cool. Alright, well, glad to hear your opinions on that. Of course, we won't always be doing this. I know a lot of people do prefer the full IFR flying, stuff like that, which obviously procedural stuff is still important as well. But we can add some more of this in the mix. We'll head down into this valley here, and then we'll we'll go to Bolzano Airport, overfly, and then we'll do a right hand turn into a valley which we need to fly into, a very small valley, by the way, for locker. And there's all sorts of power lines on that approach, so that is going to be a lot of fun.
Caution terrain. Caution terrain. Caution terrain.
Recommend freeware for Explain the Alps Western Photo Real Scenery by A Sky Story. Oh, fantastic. I'll take a look at that for sure. Thank you very much. So the valley we're going to be flying in for the approach is pretty much like down there. That's how small it is and tight. So it's going to be an interesting flight. We're going to have to get nice and slow for it. But not yet. Still just a leisure flight here.
Pull up. Terrain.
Look at this road here with the bridge. That's cool.
Pull up. Terrain. Pull up. Terrain.
So locker is pretty much on the other side of this mountain here to my right.
Pull up.
I tell you, these would be cool roads to drive in a nice car.
Terrain. Pull up. Terrain. Pull up.
Yeah, I'd love to see all this in real life. That'd be so cool.
Pull up. Terrain.
I don't know how to inhibit the terrain pull up.
Terrain. Pull up. Terrain. Pull up. Terrain. Pull up. Terrain. Pull up.
Alright, I'm going to start slowing us down here.
Pull up.
Because the approach is just to the right.
Terrain. Pull up. Terrain.
You see power lines there, we'll avoid those.
Terrain.
Alright.
Pull up. Terrain. Pull up.
I can send you some pic if you want from this plane view. Yeah, absolutely, that'd be great. Thank you very much. Alright.
Terrain.
Jeez, I don't know how to mute this terrain pull up. I've got no idea how to do that. Anyway, locker is to the right in that valley over there. So I'm going to start slowing down. And we'll probably get one stage of flapping at least, because we do need to be nice and slow for this. But this is going to be a very interesting approach here. FPS might drop even more, but we'll see what happens. And they do this approach in real life. They do take PC-12s in here in real life, which is insane. There's a slightly larger airport off to the left there, somewhere. There it is, but for now, we're gonna enter this valley. Leading the speed off nicely. Power lines there, so we'll avoid those. This is the valley that we're gonna be flying through. Oh geez, come on FPS. Not now.
Terrain, terrain. Pull up. Terrain,
Right,
terrain.
let's slow down. Hold this altitude.
Terrain.
Get first stage of flaps in, win the white arc there so we can get flaps in.
Pull
So
up.
sorry about the stuttering and the FPS there.
Terrain, terrain. Pull up. Terrain, terrain. Pull up. Terrain, terrain. Pull up. Terrain, terrain. Pull up. Terrain, terrain.
Alright,
Pull up.
so we're just gonna hold this. This should be fine for
Terrain,
now.
terrain. Pull up. Terrain, terrain.
And there are videos of this on
Pull
YouTube
up.
in real life if you do want to take a look at those. It's
Terrain,
pretty
terrain.
crazy.
Pull
I'm
up.
doing my best here to replicate it.
Terrain, terrain.
100 knots is
Pull
good.
up.
We'll go for next stage of flaps and we'll go gear down.
Terrain. Pull up.
And we'll wait for those three
Terrain,
greens.
Pull up.
3 green, alright, and we'll get
Terrain,
one more
terrain.
stage of flaps in just a
Pull up.
second.
Terrain, terrain. Pull up.
And we'll land slower
Terrain,
this
terrain.
time because it's a short
Pull up.
runway. It is uphill though, so we've got to be
Terrain,
careful.
Pull up. Terrain, terrain. Pull up. Terrain, terrain. Pull up.
Alright, I'm gonna go
Terrain, terrain.
last stage of flap,
Pull up.
just so I
Terrain,
can
terrain.
concentrate on this approach
Pull
now.
up. Terrain, terrain. Pull up. Terrain, terrain. Pull up. Terrain, terrain. Pull up.
Still about a mile or 2 left to go, I think, so may have configured a bit early, but I'd rather be early than late. And I'm gonna gonna have a job spotting the airfield, but we're gonna try our best. I think it's just round here somewhere. What if your engine fails now? If our engine fails now, we are absolutely screwed. Actually, in real life, I have no idea what you do in this note. I presume you try and put it on one of the roads or something, but it will just be a very bad time for an engine to fail. So there's low power lines which we need to avoid. Somewhere, just right round this corner. And Locker Airfield is right there, I think. So avoid these trees. Speed is good. Airfield is right here somewhere. There it is. Alright, got eyes on. Eyes on with the airfield. Here it is, right in front of us. Doesn't look like much of an airfield, but I promise you it is an airfield. There we are. Hit the brakes. Full beta. Oh, jeez. Alright, now we'll turn it around. That is crazy. We definitely came in low, but I'd rather that. Alright, now we've got to taxi down this hill. And not prop strike. Alright, really holding the brakes here. Flaps can go up. So we got a taxi down there. and park up. And now I'm going to show you something pretty cool. Watching the prop here. We don't want a prop strike. We'll get our landing lights off, strobe recognition off. Alright. Yeah, sketchy. Very sketchy. Right. See this little path? That's where we gotta try. Try, I say, to taxi down. And it's steep, it's super steep. I tell you, this is harder than the flying. Look how steep it is. It's crazy. And they do this in real life. This is nuts. How someone will do this in real life, I don't know. I really don't. I'm literally holding the brakes at like 70% to not go too fast. Oh. Oh look, there's another PC-12. Hello. Hello, fellow PC-12. Now. Watch this. If I press this H on my keyboard, we got an opening hangar. Look at that, guys. So now we're going to go and park into the hangar. By the way, this scenery is X-Plane. It's an X-Plane 10 converted to 11 livery scenery, I think, from like 2018. So it doesn't look the greatest, but it's a lot of fun. Can't say I've ever parked a plane. Oh, we're gonna hit the wing there, aren't we? Oh, we might be okay. Oh, yeah, we definitely hit the wing there. But let's park it up. Alright, is that in the hangar fully? Right, yeah, we're in the hangar. Alright. Let's cut the engine. Jeez, that was parking brakes set. And we'll get the lights off. No smoking signs off. Avionics gens can go off. Battery off, and there we are. We are in the hangar. But jeez, that was some crazy flying. The hangar there is just done using a LOWI script, which you have to install as well. Super simple. Just type LILU in X-Plane 11 or X-Plane 12 into Google, and it should come up. It's a pretty cool scenery. You do need to use their custom ortho tile though, otherwise all your mesh over here will be incorrect for all of this stuff over here, as you can see. So, well, that's going to be the end of the stream today. Flying the beautiful PC-12 here, where our wing is clipped into the side. But anyway, yeah, so final remarks on the PC-12 then. It is absolutely fantastic. It's a great aircraft, and you know, it's priced very fairly. I think, you know, it's not it's not on the expensive side of aircraft for X-Plane. You know, it is fairly or significantly cheaper than some other add-ons, but it's a really nice aircraft. And of course, with even more updates and stuff like that, Thranda, very well-known developer as well. So yeah, great aircraft. If you do want to pick it up, there's a link in the description and in the pinned comment. I do recommend it. Worth the money, absolutely. It's great fun to fly. As you can see, do some IFR procedural stuff if you really wanted. Or if you want to do some VFR flights in the mountains into sketchy airports and airfields like this, then you can do that as well. It's an incredibly versatile aircraft. And of course, so popular in real life as well. It's really, really fantastic. And you get a lot of features with Thranda, especially that EFB. The EFB is great. There's so many features, you know, the dynamic liveries. You can change the panel however you want with that 3D panel editor, which is also very cool. Not something I've seen in other aircraft other than Thranda aircraft as well. It is just fantastic. So those are the final remarks on the PC-12. When you continue in a pilot's life, you know, I have some episodes recorded and I need to record more. It's just that the flights are quite long at the moment on my schedule for pilot's life, so getting the time to record them is a little bit difficult right now. You know, recording 6-hour flights of course takes a long time, but I will try and do my absolute best to restart that series. I do really want to. I've been flying off, you know, off camera, of course, on a pilot's life, continuing our series, flying for Iceland Air, but I do want to get some episodes of that out. So yeah, I apologize, been a bit slow on that one, but it will be coming back just when I get some time to record the videos. You know, streaming is fairly, it's a bit easier in that regard because I stream. There's some preparation before the stream, you know, but the stream itself is only 2.5 hours, right? Whereas doing a 6.5 hour flight takes a long time. So when I find the time to do it, I will absolutely do it and continue that series for sure. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the stream, last stream before Christmas. So I wish everyone who's celebrating Christmas a very Merry Christmas. We will be back before the new year for a very special video stream, with Emirates Virtual Airline flying into Dubai with full ATC on VATSIM. So that'll be pretty interesting as well, and quite different to the flying we've done today. But thank you all to everyone who was here. It's been fantastic. Of course, these streams, you know, we've had a great chat today, so I thank you for that, because it's a two-way conversation, you know. Without a good chat, it's difficult. So I do thank you very much, and thank you very much to Dan for providing a copy of the PC-12 to the channel. With that said, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.